Hi guys! So today I'm going to be talking about the early pregnancy symptoms that I had before I got my big fat positive. And so just as like a little update, I've been taking the Easy at Home test like basically every day to make sure that the line was getting darker, and it has. Here's a picture of the line progression for the past few days. The top one, I think I took it like yesterday, and the bottom one I think I took either the day I got my positive on the first response or the day after. So as you can see, it's getting much darker and that makes me really happy. Here's one that I took just today and it's super dark and it's like the happiest thing in the entire world. I just love looking at it because I've taken these ones before and they were always way too light to like really tell, and so I could see the positive but at the same time I couldn't tell, but it's so nice having it be so dark. So here's a picture of it. So that's what it's like right now. They're getting darker and darker. It's the happiest thing in the whole world. I am so thrilled and I'm just in a really good mood. So I'm gonna give you a little warning and a disclaimer right now. For the warning, I'm gonna give you a decent amount of information. I'm gonna be a little graphic and a little blunt just at one point, but I just don't want anybody commenting like, oh, nobody wants to know that, because people do. Like, you want to know exactly all the symptoms that I had to compare them to your own. But I do want to preface and kind of do a disclaimer that just because I had these symptoms and then got a positive doesn't mean that because you do, you will get a positive. But that also means that just because I had these symptoms and you don't doesn't mean that you're not going to get your positive. So it's just kind of like a reference so that you can use it there during your 2-week wait, but it's not guaranteed. So as you know, I got my positive at only 8 DPO. So this is kind of a short list because it wasn't like a full 2 weeks or anything. I'm so excited to talk about this because I'm so excited that I'm pregnant. Okay, so at 2 DPO, I had a lot of cervical mucus, or CM, if that makes you a little bit more comfortable. Basically, it was white and creamy and thick. And I remember thinking, this is what it's like when I ovulated, but it's still here. And it was like 2 days after, or 4 days after I got my positive ovulation test. So it should have been 2 days after probably that I ovulated. And so I thought, well, that's weird. And that continued until I think 7 DPO. And then it just came back like 2 days ago. At 4 DPO, I remember this day I had a headache in one of my classes. And I'm not one of the people in the world who get headaches very often. I just don't. But I remember sitting in my class thinking, oh, my head is killing me. And I thought the last time I got headaches this bad was because I was dehydrated. And so I drank a bunch of water and it started to get better, and I realized that doesn't happen to me unless I'm pregnant. The last time this happened to me was when I was pregnant. So you should keep that in mind. So I wrote it down. At 5 DPO, I was really tired, but I started this whole thing that I've continued. I cannot stop eating. I remember 5 DPO, we went to someone's house and they had all this food and I could not stop eating. Like, just so hungry, going back for thirds or fourths. And I'm not usually like that. Like, and it's not like unhealthy things. It's not like I had this crazy sweet tooth or anything. I was just super, super hungry and I could not satisfy this hunger. At 6 DPO is when I started to get really tired, and that's continued. I was just kind of very groggy and just not really in the mood. I didn't put any makeup on since that day. I think the next time I put makeup on was 2 days after when I got my positive, because it was the 4th of July and we were going out. And since I got my positive, I haven't worn makeup one day. I've been exhausted, just so tired and just like not in the mood, and I just don't care. And one thing that also happened at 6 DPO and has continued and gotten only worse is my boobs. I remember this day. I have very small boobs. I think they're a 32B. They're super small, and so I can not wear a bra and nobody notices, and I don't even notice because they're just so small. But I remember this day I was walking my dog and I wasn't wearing a bra, and I remember just like being very aware of my boobs. Like, I just remember thinking like, they don't like hurt necessarily and they're not like much bigger, but I'm just very aware of them right now. They're making themselves known. And I thought that's weird because that never happens. When you have small boobs, you don't just like have things like that happen. And so I remember thinking that's weird. And then it just got worse. And so at 8 DPO when I got my positive, I was like, oh, okay, so obviously I'm pregnant and that makes sense. And they've only gotten worse. I think yesterday I was wandering around my house and I remember thinking, I've been home for 3 hours. Why is my bra still on? Normally I come in and I take it off like the second I walk in the door or after I take my dog out. And I remember thinking, why do I still have it on? So I went to take it off and I was like, oh, it's already off. I'm just super uncomfortable. My boobs are killing me. They're not necessarily bigger yet, but they do hurt a lot. And see, I'm squeezing. Oh, why am I doing this? I'm sorry. But yeah, so those are the main symptoms. I don't have any nausea yet, but I have enough symptoms that doesn't really worry me. The lines have been getting darker, which I feel really good about. And yeah, so those were my symptoms up until my positive pregnancy test and a little after, because I know most people probably won't get a positive as early as I did. For my next video, I thought it would be fun to answer some of your questions and do a little Q&A, whether you have questions about me or my husband or about, you know, trying to conceive or any of my pregnancies. I've had 3, and so if you have any of those questions, please just leave them down in the comments and I'll answer them in my next video. And so we'll see you then. Bye.